All else equal, marriage is inherently good. Bringing children into the world in the context of a married household. I think it's okay for us to adopt that cultural norm. All else equal, we're rooting for you to get married, ideally finding
I would agree with that.
that
I would agree with
soulmate.
that.
And that becomes part of a general cultural norm versus the postmodern slide of, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Well, maybe I'm a man and maybe I'm a woman. Once you sort of feel like you're removing a lot of constraints, what it turns out you're doing is you're actually just creating new ones that often can leave you far worse off as a result.
It's like the paradox of choice.
Yes, I think it's well said. I think that you can become a prisoner of what you feel like is the optical illusion of choice, when in fact it's just a new kind of prison. I think we probably benefit with some level of default structural norms in a culture, in a society, that we still have the freedom to opt out of.
For sure.
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world. Okay, that seems fairly like modern. But I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I don't see what the big crime is. I really don't. And I think this is part of the problem people have with the left, is that lots of people in this country are like this. Like he's saying, some of you may go on to lead successful careers, but a lot of you are excited about this other way that everybody used to be. And now can't that just be a choice too? And I feel like they feel very put upon, like there's only one way to be a good person, and that's to get an advanced degree from one of those asshole factories like Harvard.
A new kind of prison. What's up, everyone? It's Toss with Kenny here today. We're going to be talking about this postmodernist idea about family, the nuclear family. It's always been something that Marxists, communists, socialists to some degree, actually most degrees of socialists, see as a threat to the institution of government and centralized control and authority. Because end of the day, the left been pushing this idea of equity, right? We have to treat everyone equally. But the reality is, as human individuals, we're not equal to each other. We're not the same, right? We're not entitled to the same stuff. We don't have the same DNA. We don't even have the same skin complexion, same features. We're all distinct. Even if we're a part of a racial group, we're all distinct individuals. And that's something that collectivists hate and demonize to the nth degree. The nth degree, like the nth, is limitless how they disdain the nuclear family. And I believe I have a theory, and I think it's more conclusive and more solid for why people hated the Harrison Bucker situation. It's for the fact that he's advocating for a different cultural norm. For decades, feminism has essentially taken over corporate America, Hollywood, our cultural institutions, and they love the fact that they're sitting pretty and like, oh, yes, every woman statistically will have to work now. All women have to chase their careers and be successful in life, regardless if that path is actually making them happy or not. And the fact that Harrison gave an alternative, Harrison gave a different view on, hey, this should be our cultural norm. And this is the real fight. The real reason why these feminists are so triggered, the real reason why these feminists need these men such as Patrick Mahomes and all these celebrities to demonize what he said is because they see this as a threat to their cultural dominance, their cultural control over society. That, like I said in my earlier video, like my last video I did on Harrison Bucker, is that feminists actually care about you making a certain choice. They don't care about you having a choice. They don't care about you having options. They want you to pick a option, and that option is the career path. Dedicating yourself to a corporation, not caring about the family, not having children. Why else would they consider having children a right-wing, a far-right ideal? And when you start realizing this, is end of the day, feminists want control over you. The same argument they like, oh, you Christian conservatives, you're always pushing what you want on other people. The reality is that's everybody. Liberals included, atheists included, red pill included, feminists included. So if we're all advocating for the same thing, live like I, then shouldn't we all have the ability to advocate for why you should live this way? Just like a corporation is spending money to market their product to you and say, hey, this is why you should buy our product. It's still up to you to decide whether you want to do it or not. And this is the problem why feminists and the people on the left love censorship, because they don't want that option. They don't want people to have that option because they know if they had to argue the reality, the results of their lifestyle, they know many women will not find it appealing. And that's the reality. So let's look at this clip real quick of Patrick Mahomes getting hounded by woke reporters who are asking him about Harrison and how he disrespected women. Let's take a look.
I've known him for 7 years, and I judge him by the character that he shows every single day, and that's a good person. That's someone who cares about the people around him, cares about his family, and wants to make a good impact in society. When you're in the locker room, there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas of life, and they have a lot of different views on everything, and we're not always going to agree, but and there's certain things that he said that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the person that he is, and he's trying to do whatever he can to lead people in the right direction. And that might not be the same values as I have, but at the same time, I'm going to judge him by the character that he shows every single day. That's a great person. And
imagine that, right? That if you come out against feminism doctrine, oh, the most important things, your accomplishments, right? Get married later in life, even though biologically it statistically sets you up to have less children, right? I showed stats before how living this lifestyle doesn't necessarily make women happy. Since women started working in the workplace, their happiness and life satisfaction has been going down across the board. But when you point these things out, this is dogma. Men saying, hey, I don't want to marry a feminist. Now you see stats where majority of women don't identify with feminism, even though majority of them agree with feminist ideals. Was that telling you here? There's a trend against feminism right now. And the feminists sense this. This is why they're not taking too kindly to what Harrison Butker was doing when he gave his speech about the family. You saw the intros I put out. You got Vivek talking about cultural norms. Bill Maher's like, yo, I don't see the problem with this. He said, hey, you're going to go on to do great things, but the most important thing will be your family. No, that's blasphemy for a feminist. Right? And this is why I laugh. I laugh when people say about the zealot corner, right? And they only apply it to religion, but you can apply that same thing to ideology. This is dogma. They're trying to create cultural dogma. Like, you cannot speak out. And I think a lot of people are tired of it too. But I'll continue. We'll continue with this video.
We'll continue to move along and try to help build each other up to make ourselves better every single day. But at the end of the day, we're going to come together as a team, and I think that'll help out as well as eliminating those distractions outside the building as well.
The guys are good with that. They understand. I mean, they understand how things work. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. And that's what's so great about this country. You can share those things, and you work through it. And that's what guys do.
What makes the locker room so cool is you're able to have those discussions and become better and make those decisions for yourself. And so even though there are very vast, I guess, differences as far as those speeches happening at the same time, I mean, you're able to talk to guys and you get knowledge, you make your own decisions at the end of the day. And I think that's what makes this country so great.
And that's the idea the mainstream media has been putting, because they don't believe you can do that. That's the funny part. That's the condescending part about all this cancel culture, all this filtering information, all this labeling things as misinformation. They don't believe in your ability to judge for yourself the information and the validity and the feasibility of it, right? Because the reality is they're not about you finding truth. They're not about you finding accurate information, evidence, and data. What they're really looking for is a narrative. Then it makes sense. If they want you to believe certain things, then of course they have to censor some things. Of course they have to deboost certain things. Of course they have to say, hey, these are troubling ideas. You shouldn't listen to this. Of course they have to frame it in a certain way for you to come to certain conclusions, to lead you down certain conclusions, because they want you to have a conclusion that they want you to have. Instead of just giving the information and be like, hey, you make your decision on this. This is just what I'm thinking. And this is why I started this channel, right? And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. YouTube's been saying that if you want to boost your engagement, you have to ask your audience to subscribe. So, if you like what you've seen so far, please subscribe to the video. If you, and at the end of the day, you can always unsubscribe if you don't like what you're seeing. So I ask you to subscribe today if you be so kind. But let's get back into the clip, because I want to show you another video after this one. I'll let it ride out completely, and then I'll show you a Harrison Butker speech last year. It's so funny how they pick and choose when what they want to get offended by. But this guy's been fairly consistent with his public speech about the nuclear family. Let's continue with this clip.
Is that you're able to get as much knowledge as you can, and then you make your own decisions. And it gets a little divisive sometimes when you get to social media and you get to outside the building. But in the building, you can have those healthy discussions and still be friends at the end of the day, even though you might not agree with exactly the same things.
I didn't talk to him about this. Didn't think we need to. We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody from different areas, different religions, different races. And so we all get along. We all respect each other's, opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man. And we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that, everybody could kind of follow that. So, yeah.
With so many women just on staff here and in the building, his comments kind of touched on women in the workforce. What do you tell them if they come to you with a concern about players speaking ill of, women in general?
Yeah, that hasn't happened. I don't think he was speaking.
Imagine that. And this is why I'm talking about the coddling of women. This doesn't help women, right? How is disagreeing with their choices somehow hurting women, somehow speaking ill of women? So criticizing women is speaking ill of them? Or is this speaking truth? If I say, hey, WNBA is not a better product than the NBA, and they deserve to get paid less, am I speaking ill of women, or I'm telling you objective reality about the truth of it? Now, let's see if Clayton Clark can change that. It seems like viewership has been up in the WNBA, but it seems like the players are going to cut their nose to spite their face by unfairly criticizing Caitlin Clark because of jealousy. But if I make an observation like that about the WNBA, am I speaking ill of women basketball? Or I'm just saying the truth? And this is what I'm talking about. This is what happens when you don't have fathers in the home. This is what happens when you don't have a strong masculine representation in public forums, is that people want softer language. And me, I'm a proponent of, I think we need more tough love, because tough love creates resilient and strong people. And right now, we're not a resilient or strong people right now. That merely giving an alternative viewpoint on life choices, lifestyle, is speaking ill of women. And this assumption that all women agree with feminists, when I just stated that majority of women do not identify as feminists. Feminists are the main ones mad about what Harrison had to say. But this reporter frames it as he's speaking ill of women. You saw the intro. Bill Maher saw it. He said, what's the problem here? You got Vivek advocating, hey, this should be a cultural default. All feminists is doing is creating a new prison that women must fall into. So what about the women who want to be stay-at-home moms? They get demonized. They get shamed. Oh, you're living off your husband. Oh, what if he leaves you? You living off of your employer. What if he fires you? What if you get laid off? They don't tell them, these career women don't ask themselves that question. They just say, hey, I'll deal with it. I can deal with this. I won't die for this happening. But somehow they try to frame it as they're trying to protect women. I think you heard enough from what the Chiefs had to say, right? It's not like Colin Kaepernick. It's not like he did it on a football stage. He did it outside of his own time, right? I'm doing this channel outside of my own time at my corporate job. If I was doing this in my corporate office, you could say, oh, how can this company stand by what this individual said? But if he's saying it in a personal capacity, how you can get mad? How are you going to hold the Chiefs accountable for that? Make it make sense. This is the speech that I was talking about that he made a year ago. I'll probably play a little bit of it, and then I'll wrap up this video. Let's take a look.
It's important to use today as an opportunity to take stock of your mission. Our culture is suffering. We all see it. It doesn't matter which political persuasion you sit on, or whether you are a person of deep faith or not. Anyone with eyes can see that something is off. Studies have shown one of the many negative effects of the pandemic is that a lot of young adults feel a sense of loneliness, anxiety, and depression, despite technology that has connected us more than ever before. It would seem the more connected people are to one another, the more they feel alone. I'm not sure the root of this, but at least I can offer one controversial antidote that I believe will have a lasting impact for generations to come. Get married and start a family. Wow.
Wow, 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 wow. Where were you, feminists, when he was saying this? This was last year. His ex coworker, this little, I forgot her name already. This cheerleader that used to be a cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs. Where was the outrage then? Pretty consistent, if I had to say. But now you're paying attention. Oh, now all of a sudden, oh, he's hating women. What about men? Harrison Bucker, what about men? Last time I checked, if I look at the data points, women are not marrying men because they're not financially attractive. AKA, you're not making more money than me, I ain't marrying you. But you want to try to, like, this is the false equivalency that these feminists try to play. Men or women are different. Saying that nowadays will get you crucified. All he is casting a alternative norm. Hey, we should make this the new norm. We tried this old way. Look at the negative results. Liberal women are more likely to be on antidepressants. Liberal women are less satisfied with their lives, less happy, more likely to be a feminist, more likely to be offended by what Harrison has to say in this speech. Yet they want to keep fawning or framing themselves as an advocate for women when their choice will lead most women towards unhappiness. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
I will say this is the most important ring I have right here. Having kicked the game-winning field goal in both the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl, I have received a great deal of praise for these successes. They just announced that this Super Bowl was the most watched football game of all time, and yet all of this happiness is temporary. And the truth is, none of these accomplishments mean anything compared to the happiness I have found in my marriage and in starting a family.
Messaging is consistent. The messaging is consistent. This is the same ethos. This is the same direction that his speech were in the Catholic college that got him viral in the first place. Same sentiment. Family will give you fulfillment. Your accomplishments is only a temporary moment. Your family is for a lifetime. That should be the focus. That should be the priority. That's what you should be doing for. That should be your purpose, not your career. Not a corporation that can lay you off at any moment at a drop of a hat the minute you become unuseful for them. Your family. And this is what I'm saying. So it's the ideas that he's speaking about challenges feminist doctrine that make you don't need men. You're better than men. Men are trash. Saying all this garbage online, but a man literally giving an alternative view. Somehow you're supposed to demonize him more than the NFL players that were abusing their wives with sexual allegations all over the place. But you got more outrage for this guy because he advocates for family. You claim that he's speaking ill of women while there's dudes, famous athletes that degrade women. But y'all okay with that. Y'all let that slide. It goes to show that these people care more about talk than action. They care about they care more about what someone says than what someone does. It's baffling to me. But I digress. I'll leave it off of there. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What you guys think about this whole postmodern issue? Do you believe that we need a shift in our cultural norms? The answer is yes, by the way. And what do you think is an alternative to the cultural norms that we have currently today? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.